I'm here in Brussels, a town which is famous for its street art, and let's find out why. In the best case scenario, you would rather associate Brussels with things like the European Union, multiculturalism, or a minuscule statue of a pissing boy. So how the hell do street art and Brussels go together, right? I'm here to find out. Welcome to the Wand, which is the world's longest wall covered all in street art. It's actually too long to see it all. I can not see everything because this is the area where you cannot walk on, but it's full of street art. You can only see that part if you travel by tram like these guys. So many murals with different messages, so I'm starting to wonder, is there a central message to street art in general? Let's see some more. Street art to me is not just something that is nice to look at and trendy and cool and hip and all that. More importantly, I think it bears a message about living in cities, a message that is highly relevant and needs to be seen and heard by people. We will find out about that central message towards the end of the video, I promise you. But first, let's see some more. Walking through the streets of Brussels is like being in an open-air gallery, except you don't pay any entrance fee and you can pretty much go by any route you want. But still, why are there so many murals everywhere in town? One reason is the street art-friendly culture department of the city council. Not only have policies regarding illegal street art been loosened up step by step in the last years, the city also invests 100,000 euros yearly into hosting street artists. So much of the street art here is actually rather officially commissioned than illegally sprayed. So that sounds like a paradise for street artists, huh? Not quite. Many artists in Brussels actually criticized the commissioned works for being a sheer top-down imitation of the original bottom-up underground style, which they considered to be the essence of street art. Still, the city council's artistic ideals of a pretty city are quite different. But what are these ideals? As it turns out, they reach back to a graphic tradition that is a lot older than street art proper. We need to dig deeper underground to show you what I mean by that. You are probably familiar with Lucky Luke, the Wild West cowboy famous for hunting bad guys all day and drawing his gun on them faster than his shadow. You might have heard about the Smurfs, you know, these tiny bluish creatures living in mushroom houses, and I'm sure you know Asterix and Obelix, best known for constantly beating the shit out of Roman soldiers. But did you also know that all these comic strips originated in the Belgian capital of Brussels? French-Belgian comic strips are born here in the 1920s, and their birth is marked by the first real comic hero of Tintin and his creator Hergé. But the golden age of French-Belgian comic strips really starts to kick in the 1950s, when the Belgian artists successfully expand to the much larger market of neighboring France.
entassent tous en silence, comme des tas de vers de terre. Ils ne veulent plus croire en la science, ils ont toujours peur de l'enfer. Ils ne connaissent pas leur chance d'être si à sens unique. Jamais ils ne disent ce qu'ils pensent, ils écoutent bien trop la politique. Allez, offrez-vous un peu de rêve.
It wasn't until the early 1990s that the city of Brussels started to pay tribute to the rich tradition of French-Belgian comic strip heroes and their authors. They did that by commissioning large murals all across town. Today you can find more than 50 of these murals, mostly in the city centre and in the northern district of Laeken. By the way, you can easily find out exactly where these murals are by googling comic strip route Brussels. And you will not only be impressed by their number, their high quality is absolutely amazing. When I asked the locals what they think about these quote-unquote new murals, they asked me back, what do you mean by new? Most of these have been around for 10 or more years.
Chacun est pour l'autre le suivant. Personne ne bouge, tout le monde attend. Marchez-vous dessus, montrez les dents. Crachez-vous dessus, il est encore temps.
So what is the message of street art? First of all, if you walk through any city, what do you mostly see? You see buildings, offices, you see restaurants, cafes, shops, you see ads, commercials, and streets, and along them traffic signs. What do these things do? Well, they tell you what to consume, or in the case of traffic signs, they tell you what to do and what not to do. So that means that the visual imagery in cities is highly functionalized and commercialized, which is okay, but there is more to life in cities, and there should be more to life in cities. So that's why the central idea of street art is to reclaim the streets, to not just allow companies and the city council and the state to shape what you see on streets day by day, but to take part in shaping the streets' form, because they do not just belong to the companies and the state and the city council, but they belong to you and me.